everyone. This is Christina Barr. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl and the uproar or conversation about the Black National Anthem. And yes, people call it that. And it's not a new phenomenon. So there's a lot of folks on the right talking about it and really upset about it. And I just want to add my perspective as someone who's been singing it all of my life and even at Republican events. About the song and what it means to people, what it should be, what it shouldn't be, and the irony of people trying to use it today to sow discord. So I've talked about this before, but obviously it's a hot topic. So I'm going to be talking about that today. Also, want to talk about this video with Katie Hobbs. She was interviewed by Fox News, and the subject of school choice got brought up. So I want to talk about that, her reaction, and that's something also personal to me because my cousin lives in Arizona and she uses the legislation for school choice for her kids benefit. So I want to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about a bit about an article that I wrote and I published today on blacktnews.com about BLM and going back to when they had their What We're About page, which no longer exists on their site, but you can find it like archived. And a lot of people caused an uproar about it because they talked about how they wanted to disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family. And when enough eyes got on that, and by the way, like always said that for a long time, but then more people started to, notable people started to and not notable conservatives, like notable mainstream athletes or whatever commentators started to say that's disrupting the nuclear family. That's a way to ruin the black family, the black communities, not to help. So eventually they ended up taking it down. But one thing that they also had on there was that they wanted to dismantle cisgender privilege. And as people, there's a lot of people who are starting to speak up, upset about how you see a lot of the transgender movement really imposing upon women. And I'm like, I have not forgotten what life was like in 2020 when everyone was hashtagging BLM in their profiles and etc. So if you're out there and you're really upset about how the state of things are, I'm asking, did you help create this monster by empowering organizations that you didn't know enough about? So I posed this question on Facebook and some people were like, no, it wasn't me. But yeah, kudos to everyone who didn't fall for the madness of BLM, and kudos to everybody who spoke up despite widespread scorn. Every time I saw that in my timeline, I was like attacking. And like I said, 2020 was a very frustrating time to be alive. I mean, it's just dealing with people and their nonsense, but pandemic and then all that stuff. It was like, I don't know, like you're the only sane person. You're living in the upside down. Joker took Mxyzptlk's powers, whatever. They're saying 2 + 2 = fish. Just the world just was insane. Anyway, before we jump into everything, I encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles like the one I have referenced and that I will speak a bit about today. Also check out videos like the videos I did for March for Life. I do have my book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion, that's available for pre-order. So if you would like to get that, you guys can pre-order it right now for ebook. If you would like it on paperback, just make sure that you go ahead and leave your email on the website so you can be informed when that is available for you guys to do that. For paperback, I know a lot of people like paperback, so I'll inform you, let you know when that's available. Very excited for you guys to pick that up. Very excited about it. Someone had reached out that they wanted to interview me about it, and they're an atheist, so I might do it. But as I started going through their page to just check out their broadcast, and they did a video trying to debunk pro-choice Christians who say you can't be pro-choice and Christian. And I'm like, okay, I already debunked that, debunk that, debunk that, debunk that. Um, so yeah, that one of the reasons why I wrote it, to tackle some of that stuff, that is repeated. And some of the things I would think by now are very easy to look up to correct themselves. So I don't know how much people are Googling to just confirm their suspicions rather than to gain knowledge. So I mean, I guess that expands beyond like theology or disproving theology into politics and all sorts of stuff. But you can't. I when you get certain results that can be easily refuted if you just like critically think a bit, I'm like, were you searching for truth? Or were you trying to affirm your feelings? So anyway, check out that stuff. Also check out different merch like the uh My Money My Business shirt, got black tea mugs. Also my man Frederick Douglass, of course, the Constitution is a glorious liberty document. The Be Better Not Bitter shirt. I have this one. It's a really cool shirt. Get compliments on it all the time, and that is relevant for the topic of the day for sure, certainly. So check out different merch on the store. And some people didn't know that I write books. I did a post about it on YouTube the other day, and some people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna check out some of them." So I'll have to do. I do have information on my website on ninjadustpublishing.com about all the books, and I do have a Ninja Dust Publishing YouTube page where I have talked about all the books. So I mean, there's information about them all out there, but I might do one on this particular YouTube page because a lot of people are asking. And so yeah, I thank you for your interest. Go ahead and pick up a book if you like to read. Only one of them is nonfiction, the rest are fiction, but of course God is blatantly against abortion is a fiction book. I mean, nonfiction book. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the stories of the day. I do not actually have a meme. I slipped my mind, so I apologize. I don't have a meme. So let's just get right to the story. So there's a lot of people upset about the Black national anthem being sung at the Super Bowl. I don't know anything else other about the Super Bowl. Any other? I mean, I didn't really watch any commercials. I heard Disney had a good one. Though Megyn Kelly said it's too bad this isn't the Disney that exists today. So I didn't even take the time to watch that. There's some kind of hoopla about a Christian group that put out a commercial. Some people are upset like that it aired and that they wasted so much money to air it during the Super Bowl. And then there's some people who are like, I hope this leads people to Jesus, but they didn't like the sort of message that it had anyway. So there's some controversy around that. I have to look more into that, I guess. I did see the Flash trailer. The Flash trailer, I just can't bring myself to be excited about the Flash trailer at all. Because I never liked Ezra Miller as the Flash when they casted him in the Justice League and stuff. I didn't like him. And of course he's a degenerate who should be I would be surprised if they kept him after this movie. I just think it would be maybe they think it would be bad PR if they fired their star prior to the movie coming out. But considering all the crazy stuff he has done, I don't know about that. So this movie James Gunn said will reset the universe or whatever. There's some cool stuff in the trailer. I still don't like him. I didn't like him in the role. So the question is a nostalgia bait of Michael Keaton as Batman going to be enough to lure you in the seat? That's the question. And nostalgia bait is cool because it's tugging on your heartstrings, throwing you back in time to get your butts in the seat. I understand it. I also, at the same time, if there's something I don't want, I don't want the nostalgia to be powerful enough to like I know they're playing a game, a con on everybody. So I'm like, are you going to relent and let the scheme work? Nostalgia bait is a scheme. Nostalgia bait is a scheme, and they'll keep using it more and more and more to get you back there. So I don't know. It looks relatively like a neat story, but I haven't decided whether I would actually go in I'm sure I will see at least the parts with Michael Keaton. I don't know. But I just wanted to air that out. I'm not excited for it. Though Michael Keaton will always be Batman to me, him and Kevin Conroy. So I just want to throw that out there. But anyway, the big thing, I know the people said the game was good and people were mad about the referees, and they had a terrible conclusion because of the refs. I have not seen any of the plays, but that's what people were saying about it, at least on Twitter. I, didn't go to a Super Bowl party. I like went home. Actually, I was really sick last night, so I didn't watch it. But I did see the firestorm surrounding the Black National Anthem, aka "Lift Every Voice." That is the real name of the song. So it was written in well, before I go into history of the song, let me talk about my history with the song. There's a lot of people because people are questioning, well, why is it called the Black National Anthem? Well, to me at least, I know there's an ulterior motive agenda, and we'll get to that today. But to me, that is just a thing we said. And it was more like an affectionate nickname. I have no loyalty to another nation. I have no desire to start a new nation among, Black folks. Like, I very much love the United States of America. I thought one of the dumb things about Black Panther, though I enjoyed the first film overall, I thought it was overhyped, but I did enjoy it. But I didn't buy the hype of everyone fawning over Killmonger like he was the best new MCU villain. And I'm like, his plan is dumb. I'm like, if he goes to America and they show up with weapons like, hey, we're here to liberate you, I'm gonna be like, bro, I'm an American. Like, I'm not about to side with you, whoever the heck you are. And these people who've been lying to us our whole lives. And like, like, I'm not about to just join you, you know? What about my neighbors, my friends, the people I grew up with, my church, my community? Like, I'm not about to just leave them all inside with Wakanda after just like killed the king. Like, to me, I'm like, that plan, it doesn't work out. So everyone who was like Killmonger was so smart. Killmonger was, to me, he only progressed as far as he did in the story because everyone was acting really dumb around him. So I have a big problem with Black Panther, though like I said, I overall enjoyed it. Side note, when I saw it, the Republican Party funded an event to see the film, and before the film, we had a event that was talking about some of the policies that Republicans have put out to help Black businesses. And but people did not know it was a Republican event. We just put it out there so people would come, and they came to the panel, and we have professional people on the panel talking about the stuff, the Trump administration and the tax breaks, etc. And it was a great event. It was a great event. And people, they wanted to see Black Panther, got free popcorn. And so they got to hear some great information. And when we started taking questions, someone was like, what's wrong with y'all Republicans? This is a Democrat saying, what's wrong with y'all Republicans? This is information that we need for our families, to help our families. And y'all ain't out here telling us this information. And I thought it was a great question. I'm like, we need to do better. Now, you could say the media blocks us this way, the media does this, Democrats lie here, Democrats lie there. But the truth is, a lot of Republicans don't push hard enough to get that information out there. Yes, we are dealing with a lot of obstacles and barriers to get that information out. But the truth is, a lot of people don't try hard enough, period. So I was grateful for what we did. It was my idea, by the way. It turned out great. My sister was the chair, the head of the urban engagement and female engagement, women engagement for the RNC. So that was her job. So it was my plan. It was her job. She got the funding, everything secured, and we had a great event. We found a place that gave us a good deal. They were like, Republicans and stuff, and they gave us a good deal at the theater that we went to, and we had a great event. So that's the first time I saw like Black Panther opening night a little bit earlier, I think, than I guess it was Thursday, like around early time when most people will see it. I think they had to like do it like when everyone else basically did. But that it was like the earliest showing that everyone was watching. So that's the first time I saw Black Panther, and we all enjoyed it. We had a good time in the theater together. It was just a little overhyped, but I did like it. Okay. Anyway, I liked I like the song "Lift Every Voice." I've been singing it since I was a little girl. I grew up in an urban, very diverse school district, and we would have Black History Month, and we'd have programs that we would put on. We'd sing different songs. We'd have these books, these booklets that taught about different historic Black icons like Frederick Douglass, like Harriet Tubman, George Washington Carver. A lot of times it was like the same repeated people over and over again, but we learned about these figures. And we put on special plays, and families would come and watch us, sing songs and stuff. And "Lift Every Voice" was a song that we would sing. They teach it to everybody, and we would sing it. It was very much a part of our culture, our lives, and not just Black the school. The school would sing the song, and it wasn't just my school. Daryl Scott, Pastor Daryl Scott, he was talking about this on Twitter. He said he learned the song in school, and he said in 4th grade in 1968 or something. So this is a long-standing thing. It's not new. It's called "Lift Every Voice," but again, people have been calling it the Black National Anthem for a very long time. So as I got involved with politics, and in Michigan, we had a director of African American engagement, and my sister worked in the Detroit office. We had a Detroit office that was open year round for outreach and stuff. And she managed the office, and she ended up working her way up until eventually she went to the RNC. But we would have special events every February that would acknowledge different trailblazers in the Republican Party. My dad ended up getting an award once. They'd have one for like grassroots. They'd have one for like faith leaders, so you get like a faith leader award or something, and other stuff. So we'd have a nice event that the party would put on in Detroit, and they would always have me sing "Lift Every Voice." So I'm a Black Republican who would sing the song that was made by, I believe, a Black Republican, in the 1900s at events. And to us, it was known as the nickname of the Black National Anthem. But the song is called "Lift Every Voice." And most people only know the first verse, like the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. There are 3 verses. If we sang the whole thing, it would have to be printed out. And most of the time we would have it printed out like on the program or something, and we'd all sing it together, but I would lead it. So I have been singing the song at Republican events as well. So this song, I just want to put it out there. It did not pop out of nowhere. But it is a great song. The funny thing about people trying to use it today, there's been a great anger toward the Star Spangled Banner, trying to make it seem like it's an evil thing that we need to ditch. Now, I get asked to also sing the national anthem more than "Lift Every Voice," obviously. But I sing all these patriotic songs. And which, by the way, there's a picture of Carrie Lake circulating around where she's sitting down, and she's during the Black National Anthem, and then she commented and said, "There's only one national anthem." That's true. Always be true. We understand that. But when I do sing patriotic songs, whether it is "Lift Every Voice," or it is the Star Spangled Banner, or if it's "America the Beautiful," or if it's "God Bless America," it is standard that everyone stands. It's everyone stands. If I sing "America the Beautiful," people stand. And sometimes we don't always sing the national anthem at these events. they'll give me the option. If I have the option, just to be frank, I will sing something else. Because I'm always honored to sing the national anthem, but it's just not a it's a difficult song. Like I sing it very well. To humble brag, I sing it very well. I get compliments on it all the time. People do ask all the time. But if there's a song you don't want to screw up, you don't want to be a Fergie. So so that's always in um I'm not like nervous like I used to be about it or anything, but there's just always a bit of pressure with that song. And then as far as a group song, the best reason I heard for it there was a singer who I can't remember the singer who brought this up, but it was a black singer, very famous, said that they thought America the Beautiful would be a better national anthem than Star Spangled Banner because America the Beautiful, it's just about the beauty of America and the greatness of America versus Star Spangled Banner is a war song. And and then the Star Spangled Banner, it's switches so drastically. Like you're singing the song and you go up in the crowd, you're listening, and they're like, oh, but these other songs are simpler and easier for a mass audience. So I'm like, well, that makes sense. But the reason that this Star Spangled Banner became the national anthem, which it wasn't officially the national anthem until 1916 by Woodrow Wilson, did an executive order, if I'm not mistaken. People realized after the Civil War that we needed some kind of symbol to bind us together. We needed some kind of symbol, and that symbol became the flag. So the song became really popular. There are other popular patriotic songs during that era and that time, but people really started to gravitate toward the Star Spangled Banner because it talked about the flag continuing to wave on. So people started singing it again, and it became popular to sing it like at sports stuffs. And in 1916, it became the official national anthem. In 1919, is it 1919? It became the official not the official, but the black national anthem dubbed by the NAACP. Let me think there's a history on the website. Often referred to as the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, was a hymn written by a poem by a NAACP leader, James Weldon Johnson. In 1900, his brother, Ron Johnson, composed the music for the lyrics, which is a beautiful melody, so that's great. A choir of 500 school children at the segregated Stanton School, where James Weldon Johnson was principal, first performed the song in public in Jacksonville, Florida, to celebrate President Abraham Lincoln's birthday. At the turn of the 20th century, Johnson's lyrics eloquently captured the solemn yet hopeful appeal for the liberty of Black Americans set against the religious invocation of God and the promise of freedom. The song was later adopted by the NAACP as prominently used as a rallying cry during the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. So that's the history of the song. It's not nefarious, at least the history, unless I'm missing something. But I just want people to know that it's not a new thing that people are bringing up. Now, people are strategically, I think, using it to try to divide, and maybe people are playing 3D, 4D, 6D chess with the right, I guess, on this, because they are trying to make the 4th of July not. They're trying to build up disdain around the 4th of July. And trying to make Juneteenth like the holiday that Black people, whoever, want to celebrate, as opposed to the 4th of July. And uplifting this song, there's a fear and a reasonable suspicion about uplifting Lift Every Voice as the Black national anthem rather than the Star Spangled Banner, which there's some controversy. People tried to make it a controversy because of one of the verses, because they said it was supporting slavery, but that's not really the case. I've talked about this before. I'm not gonna go deep into it today, but the irony of this song, if you're not familiar with the song, I'm gonna play a little bit of the Super Bowl version in a bit, but right now I want to play this version of Kiki Sheard. Maybe it was in Kiara Sheard, I'm sorry, gospel singer. She did it far better than the Super Bowl version. um yeah, she did far better than the Super Bowl version, in my humble opinion. Um, especially as someone who sings myself, but trying to, here we go. So this is Lift Every Voice.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the faith that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so that is Miss Kiara Sheard. She did say the lyrics wrong, I did notice, but just one part. Because it's sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us, sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. And I've talked about these two lines a lot. And so the irony of if people are trying to uplift this song to the rallying cry of Black Americans to kind of separate themselves from the, I don't know, imperialist white culture of America, whatever kind of thing they're trying to, mindset they're trying to push, anti-whiteness, etc. The sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. So they're talking about their faith in God, that they've had such terrible things that have happened to them that they've persevered through, but they've learned, that, with God, all things are possible, that God can get them through, anything. And sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, because you have come so far, you are able to know that you can continue moving on. We're not where we used to be. So there's so many people today that are so angry and bitter about the world and act as if we have not made such great strides, and they're trying to act like we still live in the 80s or the 60s or the 1900s and stuff. And a lot of older people that I know, I just think so many young activists today are so I don't know if ungrateful is the right word, but just maybe delusional is a better one. They're just like, it's not the same world. It's not by a long shot. So this is a very optimistic sort of worldview in this song, and that's not what I see at all. And that's one reason why I have that shirt, "Be Better Not Bitter." Because when you look at history and you look at people like Frederick Douglass and George Washington Carver, et cetera, a lot of these people that we hear about, the people that we learn about, that's what the feel that you get, that we have to be better and create a better world. And you can't do that while you're holding on so much bitterness to the past. So that's one reason why I really like the song, and I find ironic how so many people um really cling to it, because it's so opposite. So opposite of the Nicole Hannah Joneses of the world and the Ibrahim X Kendi. It's so opposite. Um and so it goes on, and it talks about God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, uh thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the night, keep us forever on the path, we pray. It's a hymn. It's a hymn. Now, I'm aware that uh, they've been trying to do some 40, when trying to use a song, and they're probably like, oh, we can't wait for some of these outraged conservatives to freak out about this. So conservatives are really bad at the 3D chess right now. If Trump or whoever wanted to play like 27D chess or whatever, they could have been like, oh, this is great. This is great. They're giving praises and honor to God, and I believe our nation should do that. That's the route that I think people should have went with this. And back them into a corner, like, what are these people gonna do? Just be like, either they would, I don't know, not do the song, or they'd have to be like, yep, we're singing a hymn, giving honor and praise to God, and really talk about the significance of the song. Really talk about the significance of the song. So we could have I don't know, tried to outsmart him on this. But instead, there's a lot of people really digging into the outrage culture, and I don't know, not looking great in my opinion. In my opinion, I understand, I guess, to a degree, the outrage and the concern and the fear, but I don't know if you look good talking about him. So I mean, Matt Walsh had tweeted out, no other country on earth is ridiculous enough to permit different racial groups to perform their own national anthems before major events. Um, so it is Black History Month. So that's the thing. It was the anniversary of when it was done. So there's that. You know, he was born, yeah, Abraham Lincoln was born February 12th, so it was the anniversary of when it was originally performed to honor Abraham Lincoln. So there's a little historical context there. Also, the Super Bowl did not announce it as the national Black anthem. When people pointed that out to Matt Walsh, he said, like, don't be daft. The performer of the song actually called it that. And that's true, as most, a lot of Black people call it that. I don't, I can't control how everyone else's attitude is toward it. I'm telling you that I've never really thought of it other than like an affectionate nickname. Nothing about trying to start a new nation or to divorce myself from the United States of America. It just wasn't that deep, and I'm not saying that other people aren't trying to make it that deep. I do think that that some people are, but I don't think this is the way. Laura Loomer went back and forth a lot. Why do people even bother watching the woke Super Bowl? Their little stunt tonight called the Black National Anthem was an overt act of anti-white racism. Why do people want to cheer on their own humiliation and self-hatred? I'm so happy I don't watch the NFL. And so she had went on back and forth with him a little bit, and she's like, how low IQ does someone have to be to justify the desecration of our original national anthem for the sake of promoting racial division? Yes, it is racism. There's only one national anthem, and it's for all Americans, not just Black Americans. And I agree with her. It's absolutely for all Americans. But he said, let me school you, since you didn't take the time to research before you open your mouth. This is a hymn that was written in the 1900s. It was sung by Black Christians at a time when Blacks were not even considered human by their own nation. We relied on God, and that hymn is a testament of our resilience on him. Reliance on him. I'm sorry. The NAACP dubbed it the Black National Anthem in 1919. Again, at a time when we were treated as less than humans. We relied on God, and that song is a testament to that reliance. In your attempt to get clicks, you denigrated a beautiful praise offering to our Heavenly Father and a powerful reminder of Black perseverance. I'd say shame on you, but you clearly have no shame. Um, and someone said, bro, I just can't. LOL. Seeing so called conservative Christians complain about a hymn that was written by a Republican being sung at the Super Bowl is wild to me. Just because y'all didn't know about it doesn't make it divisive. Stop being afraid of the word Black. And so someone had commented and said, "Oh, you guys, all these white conservatives coming against you," and also mentioned the Proud Family, which the Proud Family's had some woke garbage on. I never liked the Proud Family myself, but do you think the way your party is carrying on about Proud Family, Black History Month, lift every voice and sing, and going to convince a switch? Then you have Trump attacking Rihanna. They only seem to like the ones that call out Black people. And he said, all I can do is work to make change from the inside. I can't let the foolishness of some elect people who will take away my Second Amendment rights. You got to be able to chew the meat and spit out the bone. I think that is such a great comment there, because sometimes, because I've seen people who have claimed to go and become a conservative Black Republican, and then they switched out of the party because they didn't like the treatment of them, or how people would talk about so much anti-Black stuff, or some of the culture things, or whatever. I've debunked or responded to people in such cases, because I didn't think they really made a good argument of why they left. But I do understand people getting emotional about people rather than going back to the principle at the end of the day, and the different policies. I'm not a Republican because of other people are Republicans. And I understand some people are like, oh, I came in the party because Trump was in the party, or I came in the party because Reagan was in the party, or I came into the party because I've never met anyone who came into the party because Bush was in the party, but you get my drift. I'm a Republican because of the platform and the values that I have, and they more closely align with the Republican Party that I trust to. I guess maybe trust these days is a strong word, but I'm more confident in them being able to get things done or protect things that I think need to be protected. And I know for a fact the Democrats aren't going to. They're an adversary of even things I consider to be not even I consider just objective truth. So with some things, and then they have really destructive policies. So yeah, I'm a hard R, but I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative Republican in that order. So it's about the principle. But I do understand like the frustration of some of these people is like, this is something that's been culturally attached to us for a long time, and just because you're conservative doesn't mean that just is erased or goes away, so I think we could be a lot better how we're addressing this issue. There's a lot of outrage culture about it. Even he had mentioned that 1919, the year was dubbed Black National Anthem, was also the Red Summer of 1919 due to massive amounts of racial violence against Blacks. So even the history of the song being sung by school children, this beautiful hymn, and also in honor of Abraham Lincoln, as well. There's a lot of really good history there. So I wanted to give my 2 cents about it. Again, don't mean anything crazy. I'm not tearing up my ID, my passport, or anything like that anytime soon. I like being an American, and the Star Spangled Banner is a national anthem. I will continue to sing that. But I just want to reiterate, when I sing any song that we deem as patriotic, at an event with other Republicans, they do stand. People do not solely stand for the national anthem. That is not my experience as someone who has a lot of experience as at singing across the country, period, but particularly at these events. So, when I sing God Bless America, America the Beautiful, people stand for those two. So, I don't think it's a great look, Carrie Lake not sitting, I mean, choosing to sit for it. Um, but every time when I have sung it at an event, everyone sings along. They have a piece of paper or something, because they normally, a lot of people don't know the lyrics, especially all three verses. I don't know all three verses by heart. I know the first one by heart. Um, everybody sings along like they do the national anthem. That's my experience. And if you didn't know that, I hope you learned something today. But it's not something that people just came out of nowhere. And by the way, people worked like Juneteenth was like a super new thing. I didn't know about Juneteenth or celebrate Juneteenth back as a child or something, but I've gone to Republican events. We've had Juneteenth events. It's like a Republican holiday. We're the party of the freeing of the slave. So, um, we have to be careful about how the left takes these things and how we let them take these things. Just like when I went undercover at the Democrat Michigan Democrat Party picnic or something, they mentioned how they felt that we took words away from them, like patriot. And that's what the Oakland County chair mentioned. Like, there's these beautiful words like patriot and stuff that they took from us. And I thought that was curious, but they felt like we took that from them. I don't think we should let them take these things from us. Um, I think the good thing to do is to remind people of the history, not this toxic 1619 revisionist history, but like you want to cite like George Washington Carver and put him in your Proud Family video or whatever. Let's actually look at some of the stuff that he talked about and preached to his students, because he was concerned about the state of their souls. Like, let's look about more about what the stuff that Frederick Douglass has said. And people point to that for what is the 4th of July to a slave speech. That's and try to use it like the 4th of July is a bad thing. The shirt that I have, the Constitution is a glorious liberty document, that is from that speech. That is from that speech. So these people believed in that America had great things to offer. They just wanted to be for everyone, and they believed in moving forward, and Lift Every Voice is about moving forward and God being faithful through it all, through dark tribulation and trials, but still being faithful. And because he's been faithful, we know that we can advance forward. But CRT and all these attitudes today, that the premise of that is America is too awful and we need to tear down the institutions that we have. That's what that's about. And we need to show everyone the alternative and the true vision of these people who fought for civil rights. That's my suggestion. That's what we need to do. The outrage culture might get clicks, but it turns off other people too. So we got to get better at playing 3D chess, I guess. Before I move on from this topic, I do want to say I did not like the NFL performance. I did not like it. So I'm gonna actually play a little bit. I played, Kiara Sheard. There's a ton of amazing Black singers, especially gospel singers, that you could have gotten to sing. And I only really know this actress from Moesha, which we were not allowed to watch, but I do know she was Moesha. She's on a show right now, and she just got an Emmy. And so my sister said, sometimes they just keep giving stuff to folk, and they did try to make him really big. And I did not like her rendition at all. So I'm going to play a little bit. And then I'm going to contrast that with the national anthem, which was really good. Hold on, let me start it over.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven
She looked crazy.
Rejoicing, rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that
Yeah.
the dark past has.
So yeah, the marching stuff, this is so cheesy to me. The melody is so good. Like you don't even need to do like a ton of different tricks or whatever. Um, Kiara Sheard like threw in some stuff. I might do one or two, when I sing the song. Um, I I thought it was too low. Maybe that was the only way she could really get through it. I don't know what capabilities of her ranges. I didn't know she could sing, and I don't think she can. If she was on The Masked Singer in some kind of costume or whatever, and they were throwing out names, I'd be like, this isn't a professional singer. It's someone who can maybe sing decently. I wouldn't be like, that's a professional singer. If I was like watching at home The Masked Singer or something, I wouldn't guess a professional singer. um so yeah, I didn't like the rendition of it, and it was more like she was trying to perform than she was trying to sing, in my opinion. um Contrast that. So I think it's funny. You have the black national anthem, right? Singing, and they're singing before the Super Bowl, and you get a black artist, and they're singing the song, and but then you get someone who sings and follows up with the national anthem, and it's a white guy, and he has more soul than the person who's singing the black national anthem. So I don't know. To me, they got culturally owned, and maybe people be ticked off that I said that, but I'm gonna play a bit of the national anthem from the other day.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular amongst birds singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Woo!
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
That was so good. That was such a good rendition. It seems like every time when you hear someone start to sing the song, like at least I'm wincing. Like, are they going to be able to do it? Can they do it? But I mean, he just it was at a comfortable range for him, and he had good little riffs that were so smooth, here and there. And then his voice was just full of soul, had great texture. That was a really good rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. So people are so mad about the Lift Every Voice, and I'm like, he totally outdid her. So there's that. Again, I really like the song Lift Every Voice. I did not like the performance at the Super Bowl. And apparently they have been playing, the NFL had announced some time ago that they were going to sing the song or play the song prior, and I've read that they have been doing it. I don't watch sport. So I can't attest to that, but apparently this isn't like a new thing, but we're having some outrage. So yeah, but anyway, he killed it. He killed it. He killed it. Um, let's move on. Let's move on. So the Fox News decided to interview Katie Hobbs. I'm a little surprised she did the interview, but I guess she won, so nothing to fear now. Doesn't have to hide from Carrie Lake and folks. But she was called out about her opinions on school choice when she herself went to private school. So, great dig there at in the interview.
A reference there to the private Catholic high school that you went to. So why shouldn't all students have a chance at what you said was so important in your own life?
Look, I grew up in a working class family. This was well before any of this public assistance for private school existed, and my parents made that choice. I begged them to send me to public school, and we sacrificed a lot. There were times in my family that we were on food stamps, and so it was a choice that they made, and they struggled to make that choice. What I want is for every student in the state of Arizona, no matter where they live, to have access to high quality public education. And with this universal voucher system, that's not happening.
But if their system is failing, if their public school is failing, no to giving them a chance to go somewhere else like you did?
The schools are failing because we are failing to invest in them. They're being starved of resources.
So she made the case for her opponents in this interview. So she's gosh, this whiny little baby voice is the governor. So my cousin lives in Arizona, and she uses their voucher programs and stuff to help with her kids' education. So Katie Hobbs' parents sent her to private school, and she claims that she begged her parents to send her to public school. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't like that it was a Catholic school and wanted to go to a normal school. I can believe that. Maybe that's not a lie. Maybe that's true. I can believe that. I don't find that particularly fishy. I used to ask my parents to be homeschooled. That didn't happen, and I don't know. I don't think they probably. I was the kind of kid who could probably have handled my own education. Sure. I don't think they're the kind of parents that could help me really be homeschooled. Though when I was little, my mom was very diligent about, hey, you got to learn how to know your name, your letters and stuff before you go to school. She had a lot of kids, and and then eventually it was like, we tap out. So I just don't. I didn't really ask for it, I think, until I got middle school, high school. Anyway, I can believe that she didn't want to be in private school. I can believe that. But she said her family struggled, and this was before a time when you could use any sort of other funding for private school. So her family apparently sacrificed to help her with their education. And she talked about how it was hard. Now, I assume she talked about it was hard to garner some kind of sympathy. I think that was the point. To say, hey, I'm like you. I'm not some rich kid who went to a private school. I struggled. Yes, your family struggled to help you with your education because they thought it was worth it. And it was particularly hard because you couldn't get those other sort of resources, like from vouchers, to help you. So it begs the question, why wouldn't you want other people to have opportunities like you had, but make it a little bit easier than the time you had, because these vouchers do exist. So the point she was trying to make, I think she failed, because I think she really made a good case for why vouchers should exist, so you don't have to um, be on food stamps or choose between food and education for your child. So failure there from Katie Hobbs. Um, as far as we are public schools are failing, and she's saying they're failing because of money. Look, their schools get all kinds of money from property taxes and other stuff, and if they can't, because some people's like, oh well, these schools, they're not in nice enough districts where they'll have like big money coming from property taxes and stuff. Yeah, but the federal government, gives a lot of, there's money that comes from there too. So schools are very, very well funded in a lot of cases. But you might get to a situation where there's administrative costs, or somewhere people are eating money, people steal money. My sister she graduated from Pontiac Central, and that's where my dad graduated. He also gave like the dedication speech when the building opened, way back in the day. Nobody's at that school now. Nobody's at the school that I went to growing up in elementary and middle school, and then we moved out to a rural area. But my oldest sister graduated from Pontiac Central, but she remembered hearing some people from church who also went to the same school talk about how they got some kind of fund from like Bill Gates or somebody for computers. And so she thought that was strange because she's never seen these computers. So she went to school. And this is like when she was graduating. And so she went to her teachers and she was like, hey, did the school win something from some kind of organization to get computers? And they're like, yeah. And so they brought her to a room that was locked, and they opened the door, and there's all these computers just in boxes. And they were new at the time when they won the award, because these church members were older than her when it happened. And so now she's graduating, and there's all these computers in boxes, and they're like, nobody set up the computers because they didn't want to integrate them with a new system or figure out how to integrate with the system or whatever. So they just kept in boxes, just new computers, which aren't new anymore, because technology keeps advancing. So they're not new computers anymore. They're unused computers. And so when my dad found that out, he was like so upset, because he's a nerd, and he's like, we could have got other parents to volunteer to try to figure it out, but just to have these computers wasted sitting in boxes, not used by students. So this is just an example of crazy things that happen. As a matter of fact, Gina had all these scholarships lined up, so she could have went to anywhere in the state for free, but somebody just screwed up her paperwork, didn't get stuff in on time, whatever, on their end in the school. And like my dad was in he went to London with my uncle doing some visiting some churches. I don't think they're preaching anywhere, but it was religious stuff. And he got a call from her, and she's crying in tears, talking about how all of her scholarships are messed up. And so it's actually like a great story, because my dad was kind of forewarned by the Lord, and he's like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, I'm going to go to community college, or I'm going to try to, he's like, no, what is God telling you to do? And then she started really crying. She's like, God wants me to go to Nigeria with you and fulfill my ministry. So she actually went on the mission field. So it is a great story and had a happier ending, but I'm just telling you, people really screwed up, and sometimes public schools really fail you. And you can have a nice public school. Like the school that I graduated at, Holly High, was a lot better than Pontiac Central, where she graduated, and it was like a huge cultural shock, period, but also just seeing the difference in the resources that one school had that they didn't have. So you can go to a nice school, but if your school won't fail if children are choosing and parents are choosing to go to your school, if there's competition. So they're tipping their hand, like they're letting you know, if parents have a choice, they won't choose the public school. So they have to take away the choice. So you have no option, or no option isn't a good thing to say. They'll still have options, but they'll have less resources to be able to fulfill their desires. So the vouchers opens up a world of possibilities for people to choose more options that would have been too expensive for them on their own to accomplish. But if they don't do the vouchers and you have to go to public school, there's going to be kids who either I guess would have to be homeschooled if their parents can find the time or the means or whatever to do that, or or a lot of people will just be trapped in public schools because mom's got to work because they don't have the money to do the private school. They can't work it out. So she is trying to take away opportunities from kids in order to protect teachers unions, etc. It's not for the benefit of the kids. Not every charter school or private school is going to be a good school, just like there plenty of public schools are trash, but not all of them are bad. I would assume the quality of a lot have probably gone down since I was in high school, but not all of them are bad. You're gonna have great experiences at a lot of them, but some of them are need to be shut down, or and other things need other places need to rise for these kids. So not a great moment from Katie Hobbs, Miss Babyface, or not Babyface, Baby Voice, Miss Baby Voice Hobbs. Sounds like a little child. Last thing I want to mention, and I am over my mark, but I'm going to keep going, is that I did write an article, I did post today about BLM, going back and looking at their history about how there's a lot of talk about the sort of things that they believed in as an organization. And if you go back to 2020 and you remember the summer of riots and summer of love and the fiery yet peaceful protests, everybody hashtagging BLM, talking about Black Lives Matter, police brutality, with their distorted sort of view of police and targeting, etc. Every time BLM showed up in my profile and somebody was talking about it, I had this organization is not good. They're a bad organization. And people will be like, well, what do you want me to do? And then I'm like, I don't have an easy answer for you. So one reason why BLM rose to power, I mean, they had risen in power and where people aware this of BLM and stuff before. But one reason why in 2020, why it was so prominent, so many people gave to them, is because that was the face that the organization so many people recognized. And it made people feel good to donate a little something, and then they felt absolved of their sins or their guilt, and it was easy. So it was easy for them. So I would tell people, I'm like, I don't have an easy answer for you if you really want a good solution to this stuff. I'm like, if you want to really do something about police brutality, I'm like, go to a local Republican club, find like some libertarian leading Republicans, because they're the ones who really know the law. They're the ones who really care about your rights, and they're going to know the data and they have a suspicion about police anyway. So you can come together and join and figure out how to push out some good legislation that's not going to tear down the society. Like that's what you really need to do, not donate to BLM and say, I did a good thing today. So I don't have a short-term solution for people, some kind of instant gratification. I cannot offer you that. If that is what you want, I cannot do that. And that is not what you should be asking for if you were really serious about making positive change. So, but people didn't want to do that. They wanted to black out their profile in all black. They wanted to hashtag. They wanted to throw something up in their profile. They wanted, maybe they could at the most go to a march or two. But as far as making constructive change that's actually really good for communities and really good for neighborhoods, that's more work than most people want to put out. People want to appear virtuous and feel like they're virtuous sometimes, and but as far as like doing groundwork, no. Most people they want to have their little hit and then go back to being apathetic on the issue. So people were really, really giving money to BLM, and I would tell people, I'm like, look at what they say, look at what they stand for, and they're like, well, I'm not maybe for the organization, but I'm for the movement. I'm like, you can't separate the two. Like, I understand the phrasing or that sort of the thinking that you're trying to get across, but they've been here. That is their slogan. That's their slogan. So every time you use it, you're just uplifting the organization. They have adopted. It's their thing, and it's been their thing. You can't just say, well, there's a difference between the movement and organization. Like, the movement itself is based on a false perception about police targeting. Like, I don't know if I have the graphic still in here, but there was a group that did a poll or whatever and asked people like, what do you think? Oh, I do have it in here. How many unarmed black men were killed by police in 2019? And the number is less than 20, just spoiler alert. But look how many people think it's more than 10,000 or about 10,000 or 1,000 or about 100. Now, if you thought police were going out and killing 10,000 black men a year or more than 10,000 or even 1,000, I could understand being upset. And it's wrong when any one individual is unjustly killed by police. So I don't want you to think that I'm belittling any sort of injustice, but we had a very skewed sense of the world. And if you look, the more liberal you are, the more likely you were to believe that the number was crazy high. So if you're very conservative, you're closer to the truth here. So doesn't that, really speak to our false perceptions on society and the anger that led to the anger and outrage that we saw over that period of time? Which, by the way, like I said, the number was less than 20, but if you contrasted that with how many black babies were like aborted, oh my gosh, numbers are crazy. I mean, in 30 there was like almost 15,000 aborted in Michigan in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Anyway, people are supporting BLM. The movement, the organization is based off of false premise. Anyway, there was a data scientist from Reuters who went through it and really debunked the like police targeting and how the narrative actually ends up hurting more black communities and causes more crime and other stuff being committed in the communities. And you can look that up. I've talked about it before, so I'm going to dive deep into it today. But Paul Krugman maybe was his name. But he was a data scientist from Reuters, and he ended up getting fired for speaking out the truth, by the way. They didn't like that he pointed that out and had tons of data. So the predicate of the movement was based on a falsehood. Now the phrase, if we're just going by the phrase Black Lives Matter, of course they matter. Just like, brace yourselves, I'm going to say just like all lives matter. But the truth is, though, that people need to realize that their lives matter, because if your life doesn't matter, you're going to do dumb stuff. If you care about your life and your future, and you care about your community and the people around you, you will make better decisions, period. That goes for the person doing the crime. That goes for police officers, like what happened in Memphis. I'm like, what is wrong? Like, it's evil what happened anyway. But I'm also baffled by how stupid it was. Why would you do this and throw your life away? Like, and it's not like they even like met at a like abandoned like I don't know, warehouse at the edge of town by the river or something. I'm like, you're like beating them in the street. It was just so ridiculous. Like, how little can you care about yourself, your family, your friends, and everyone around you? It's causing such an embarrassment and heartache, not only for the victim's family, but for your families as well. So I'm like, if people just cared a little bit more about themselves in a not a selfish way, but just in a productive way for thinking about building a life, giving themselves meaning, people wouldn't make such destructive, stupid mistakes. So yeah, all lives matter, but your life has to matter. Your life has to matter. That is the mantra that people need to remember before they go out and do dumb stuff and make bad choices. Just in general. But BLM, the organization, on their website, they had a What We're About page. Now, the What We're About page no longer well, it doesn't exist from the last time I looked, but they did take it down because it started to get too many people talking about it. Um, so they did take it down. Let me pull it up really quick from the archive, from the like the Wayback Machine. So let me see. I did link this in my article, so if you check out the article, you will see this. What we believe. So we gotta zoom that in. Well, I can read it. So it said that we here we go. Now people are upset about it says that they want to here this says we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement supporting each other, extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, the degree that mothers, parents, and scroll down a little bit, and children are comfortable. Nothing in here like promoted the Black father, by the way. Nothing in this What We Believe page. So people talked a lot about the disrupting the Western prescribed nuclear family, which a little background, BLM started by trained Marxists, self-described trained Marxists. So that gives you a little insight into the kind of stuff that they push. But another thing that was really crazy is that got maybe more ignored is that we are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift Black trans folk, especially Black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. So, by the way, the belief that trans women are particularly or especially targeted by crime or violence and stuff isn't true. And there's been plenty of people who've gone through like actually looked at different homicides and explained the how things happen, which it's tragic, but a lot you see a disproportionate amount of violence in that community because people pick really violent professions like sex work, for example, or there'll be people who are killed in domestic violence situations, again, which is tragic, but they're not being murdered specifically by like they make it seem like MAGA people are going out and hunting these people because they're trans when it's you dated someone and who must like it a little bit for your equipment down there and then they were violent against you, so they make it seem like it's a targeting of trans people when that's just not the case. But they especially, again, they don't mention anything about uplifting the Black man, the cisgender Black man, the Black father figure. That was not a priority for them, but they said that they wanted to dismantle cisgender privilege. And in my article, I do have a link that goes back to this website that lists like 30 different examples of cisgender privilege. And this person was interviewed by Katie Cork, so it's not like a random LGBT kind of person. They did have some kind of like, I don't know, media prominence or something. But cisgender privilege, if you don't, first of all, you don't know what cisgender is. Cisgender means that you identify with your sex. So I'm a female. I identify as a woman, or I am a woman rather. I'm just trying to let you know the lingo, the jargon, what it means. So because I was assigned female at birth or assigned woman at birth, and I identify as a woman, I would be cisgender, right? So they said they want to dismantle the privileges of that. So an example of cisgender privilege, which was like listed on this website that I referenced, is that you can find shoes easily in your size, as opposed, I guess, to big trans feet. It's hard to find heels in size 15s or something. So a lot of these, when people talk about privilege, whether it's this or it's white privilege or and there's Black people complaining about white privilege, some of the things are so dumb, and it's just a matter of reality. Like, I'm a big woman, you guys can see that, right? I cannot find shoes everywhere for my size. I wear 11 wide, And I can't just go to any like petite store and find a shoe my size. You know, if I go to like a major shoe store, I can find 11 wides in my size, but not as big of a variety that you can in like a 7 or an 8, you know, or 10. So that's just a reality of life. And I don't expect everyone to carry as many things in my size because people are going to make what's good for their clientele, for their bottom line. Now if I go into Torrid, or if I go into, which doesn't have a huge shoe selection like in their store, or if I go to Lane Bryant, I will find all, basically all shoes will be like all the styles will be represented in my size because they are plus size stores. So granted, I don't think I've seen 15s or something. I'm sure not all men probably wear like a 15 hill, or I don't know. I don't know. But people have different challenges. So saying it's a cisgender privilege, it's not a cisgender privilege. I can empathize with your plight. Um but how do you dismantle something like that? You go into I don't know, Rue 21 and say, "Hey, you got to make sure that you're making more shoes for my particular clientele." Or I mean, you could just make shoes for your community. Not everyone wants to go into that niche market, but somebody's going to make money, so I guess you could do that. To them and drag folks and whatnot. Another example, more serious one, is not that's another more serious cisgender privilege would be if you're dating someone, not having to fear having to have the conversation about what you really are, and telling them about your genital situation, and them being afraid and having to face that anxiety and fear or whatever. So this is disturbing because it's like you should be really upfront with people about your status as a transgender person. If you're convincing, you know, uh you should be upfront with people when someone decides to ask you out thinking that you're a woman, and if you're not, um you should be honest with that on day one. And I know not everybody is, and I think that's absurd. I think that is absurd and immoral. So there's that. But cisgender people, heteronormative couples, there's other things that they have to be concerned about. Like women are concerned about, you know, trans women aren't concerned about this. But if you've never been in a situation where you've conceived before, you know, can you conceive? That's something that couples will, you know, get tested on or whatever prior to, or they'll have to have conversations on, do you want to have kids? Um, can we have kids? Do you know if there's any issues with you? And people might check themselves out before, you know. I'm assuming I'll be able to this, you know. But those are things that women hope everything is okay, and if there's some kind of bump in the road, they're like, "Do you have slow swimmers? Are my eggs okay?" You know. So thinking that your particular plight is unique, I give you that. Which men and women can also be concerned about their having to confess whether they have some kind of STD, you know, as well. So having to have conversations that are hard with your partner is not a cisgender privilege. It's just life. It's just life. So another example of cisgender privilege is being able to go to a locker room that you want, or a bathroom that you want, without hassle. So that's another one that's quite troubling, because you should not be able to just go if you're a man and think that you're going to just go into a woman's segregated sex space, like of a bathroom, you know. But they think it's cisgender privilege. So is that something that you want to dismantle? Is that a thing that you want to dismantle? And people obviously want to dismantle it. So there's a story that came out, if you guys aren't aware, of at a YMCA. It's always like a YMCA. There was a girl, a minor, young woman. She's 17. She was in the shower after working out, and then she sees a man in the locker room, and then she's terrified. And she claimed, or the story was getting out that she saw his stuff, but I guess she saw his butt, but because he's doesn't have, he cut off his stuff, his junk. So there was people came and rallied for this transgender person. And but CBS, how they reported the story, and they're like, well, that she's fully transitioned. I'm like, how do you fully transition? Because you can't fully change. You can't do that. I mean, you can't really transition because you're never going to change from one to the other. You can live your life as the, in your perception of how that gender should be, trying to emulate and be that gender. But you can't transition, and you certainly can't fully transition. If you want to say he cut off his dick, like you can say that. Sorry to be vulgar. That's what happened. But I want to show you guys this report because it's pretty wild to me. The cowardice of this and where we're going.
Entire
Run a little bit.
People, entire families were coming up to get their picture taken and to introduce me to their children.
And Wood is not done fighting. She's planning to speak next Wednesday at the Santee City Council meeting.
It's important that they finally get to hear the truth, and they finally get to put a face on this scary transgender woman who was misgendered.
And despite threats of violence, Wood says she's not scared.
You know, I know how to give an insult out, and I know what areas to kick and punch. You know, at least enough to be able to run till I can get to my car and get out of here.
And at the meeting, she'll have the support of her Aqua sisters.
My husband and I are thinking about putting some signs together that say we support Chrissy, so that we have, the visual.
Friendship through thick and thin.
Austin Grab is joining me now. Austin, I feel like a big part of the story that's either been a misconception or people are just forgetting about is that Wood has fully transitioned into a woman and was in the woman's bathroom.
Yeah, that's right, Wale. In fact, she says she...
Oh, guys, we just forgot. We're forgetting that Chrissy here has fully transitioned, and that's why Chrissy's fully transitioned. So Chrissy gets to go in the woman's bathroom. Did you guys forget about that? We're missing the important piece of the story. Not that a 17-year-old girl was terrified because she saw a man. And he is a man in the bathroom, but no, he chopped off his dingleberry, so he's no longer. Oh, he's fully transitioned. 5 years ago, he did. Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. This is baffling to me. It's trying so hard. These men trying so hard to stand up for this other men. This is the patriarchy in women's face. So I brought up this story to say that BLM wanting to dismantle cisgender privilege. What did people think that meant? Or did you just not think about it? When they're talking about dismantling cisgender privilege, they're talking about things like you get to go to the bathroom without any sort of, people getting on you about it, and they want the same. They want the same. And by the way, this Mr. Woods here, he's sued other athletic places to be able to go in the locker room. The ACLU has backed him up on stuff. So he's caused a stir to make him have this space. There's other stuff that I found out as well that I did mention in my article, but I'm going to go ahead and play this out so we can get to the 17-year-old, and what she said.
She is a woman, and she really wants to drive home the fact that she transitioned over 5 years ago, and that she is a woman, and she says she's a woman, period, and that's where it ends.
Absolutely. And let's transition ourselves into the other side of the story. That 17-year-old girl. What are we hearing?
She says she's a woman, period. That's where it ends. Like,
from her.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I did not see Rebecca Phillips here last night at the protest, and I have tried to get in touch with her. I left a message yesterday at her workplace, but I have not had a phone call back. Certainly we would like to speak to her, but I haven't heard from her, and I haven't heard any more public comments from her. It will be interesting to see if she comes out to that city council meeting next week. Certainly she's already had her voice heard there. Now Wood is going to have her voice heard there as well. It would be interesting to see if the two were there at the same time.
Absolutely. You definitely want to hear from that 17-year-old and how she's even responding to the protest. Austin, thank you very much. Let's dive deeper into that part of the story and how this incident got into the public limelight last week. That 17-year-old girl that we were just talking about, her name is Rebecca Phillips. She got up to speak at the Santee City Council meeting, sparking the debate. Here's some of what she had to say.
As I was showering after my workout, I saw a naked male in the women's locker room. I immediately went back into the shower, terrified, and hid behind their flimsy excuse for a curtain until he was gone. I was made to feel as though I had done something wrong when I talked to people at the YMCA. Somehow, the indecent exposure of a male to a female minor was an inconvenience to them.
Yeah, so okay, so Redux did some articles on him, and so they dove through his social media and they found some pictures of like some young girls who were dressed in outfits that adults would wear, not like latex and leather or anything like that, but just like ripped jeans, like crop top kind of stuff. And then he would write things like, oh, me as a child, or me as, or whatever. And there were even people who were like, oh, that's like not cool to sexualize these kids. And like, this isn't sexual. And there are a couple posts like that. But there was also like a how perverted are you like gag test. And his result was like 637 or something like that. I know people can post pretty crazy stuff on the internet, but I don't understand posting kind of that kind of crazy stuff on the internet. So yeah, I would have been concerned. I would have been upset, and I would have raised heck if I was that girl, especially if I was a kid. My family would have especially raised heck if I was a kid, but I'm not a minor, but I still would have not been okay with what happened. And it's clear that they're trying to take the side of the patriarchy on here and stand up for these trans men. And by the way, BLM was like, we're gonna uplift they want to uplift black trans women above everybody else for some reason, above cisgender black men. They didn't even care about black men and like in their what we believe page or whatever. They uplift everybody else in the community except a black father. So BLM, if you don't know, in 2020 they raised like $90 million. They pocketed like 60 million of it for like growing their organization, which I'm sure that goes into Patrice Cullors buying mansions and other stuff like that. But they gave 20 something million of it away to certain groups, or maybe it was like in the 30 million. It's in the article. But a majority of the groups that they gave it away to were LGBT groups, black groups or whatever. So if you watch Candace Owens' documentary on The Greatest Lie Ever Sold, there's a section when she goes through some of their IRS filings and how they gave 200,000 to this organization, 200,000 to this organization, 200,000 to this organization, which was actually tied to this organization. So that was like $400,000. So by far, it's the best thing in the documentary, I would say. I did watch it. I did like it. It wasn't as good as What is a Woman, but that section is worth watching if you can find a clip of it at least, or just, I don't know, pay $14 at least for the month and go watch the documentary. But they did go through it, and it was like, this group got this group got that. And they're giving money to groups that are building like transgender communities, transgender housings, and other stuff like that. So their What We're About page no longer, or What We Believe page no longer exists. They did take it down, but BLM started to make curriculum that they wanted in schools and other places, and it essentially believes the same stuff. So they still support this stuff. They just don't want it to be as open as it was before. So if you uplifted this group, I was annoyed with you in 2020, and I guess I can still be a little annoyed with you as well. But the least you can do now is see the error of your ways and just take out BLM out of your profile, because this was never a good group, and there was especially not a good group for Black communities, for any communities or America. As I said, they are trained Marxists, and they have it out for the not only the family, but apparently just women in general. Because you cannot make all these inclusive spaces for all these trans women without imposing on women. You can't. The best they can do is say shut up and make you comply and make you too afraid to speak out and give the illusion that everyone is okay with it. Well, we're not. And I'm glad that more people are speaking up about it. It seems like it. On Twitter, not on Twitter, on TikTok, people have noted that more women are allowed to speak out. It seems, unless people are getting banned for some of the stuff that they're saying. I don't know. I haven't really posted a lot about that subject since for a while, since my accounts are kind of in we'll say sensitive kind of statuses on TikTok. So but other people have been posting things and speaking up, and I'm glad. And we need to stand up and say, no, you cannot override women and just ignore our feelings and our thoughts. Like, I can empathize with, I can understand why a trans woman might not want to go into a male bathroom and get hazed or whatever. And worst case scenario, violently assaulted. But you have to understand that women share those same concerns, or even if aren't concerns about something physically happening, just internal anxiety. When I was a kid in high school, I didn't like going in the locker room and change for the other girls. I can't imagine like if a boy wanted to come in and just, be exposed or whatever, and still liked girls too. Like so there's no empathy for the women here. If you no one can help if you have gender dysphoria. Like, we can't help that. That's not something that you can help. And that's awful. The utmost sympathy to you. But if you do decide to transition, that is a choice. And you're going to create a world of difficulties for you. Life is difficult enough, and if you choose to go this route, that is a choice that you have made. But you don't get to then inflict the difficulties of your world onto everyone else. It's not like the world's responsibility to make a glass cage for you. That's not our responsibility. It's like your responsibility is to build yourself up internally, and that's what these psychiatrists or psychologists and these clinics or doctors or people in your life, that's what they should be doing. Trying to help you be better internally with yourself, as opposed to trying to make everyone else sick. So enough's enough. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. That is all that I have for you. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different videos, different articles, etc. Like, I have some more like stuff that I said that you guys can check out about that particular topic on my website. Check out different merch that I have. I got, if you're still in the Trump, I got pro-Trump stuff. Including this cool goat hoodie that I have, and you can get the goat t-shirt too. I do have both, and I do have them in different colors as well. I got the Denounce White Supremacy, Defeat Joe Biden shirt with a list of some of his racism on the back. And I'm Not the Victim You're Looking For. I got all kinds of stuff you guys can check out. I do also have my historical fiction fantasy book you guys can check out. It's available on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get it on paperback. I have 15 books altogether that are published. So if you search my name, Christina Elbar, and it's Christina with a CH on Amazon, I will pop up. If you do go to blacktnews.com though, and you go to the merchandise banner, the merchandise page, under the banner there, you'll find my stuff, and I'll take you to my book website. But if you do like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. It costs to stream, costs to run my website, it costs to make different sort of videos with like different filters and stuff. Even like if you have Adobe and programs that I use, it's pretty darn expensive. So if you can help with it overhead, I really much appreciate it. I am not monetized on YouTube or anything yet. I have enough people. I just need some more watch hours for you guys. So I appreciate you guys watching live and watching it back later. But we've had an eventual rise to YouTube. It's been a journey. So I'm glad that my numbers are finally upticking, but I'm not monetized. And frankly, I don't know if YouTube will monetize me. I have no idea if they would monetize me. And I doubt this kind of episode would be something they'd want to monetize. So, a lot of it is your generosity. So if you like what I do and you want to support, I am asking to go to the website and hit the donation page. And whether it's a gift of $15 or $30, or if you could do 100, whatever you can do, it's very much appreciated. But I can't do it alone, and I don't do it alone. So God bless you if you can do that. Otherwise, I thank you guys for liking, subscribing. If you do subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're on Facebook watching, make sure that you guys are following the page. I know I had a lot of people who like the page who didn't follow the page, and they kind of changed their metrics. So make sure you're doing both. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow.